Good evening, and welcome to Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities, presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Dr. Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate executive by day, award-winning serial entrepreneur by night, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight, we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Dr. Eve Hudson. A little bit about her. Affectionately known as Dr. Eve, is a native of Charlotte, North Carolina, and a first-generation college graduate who earned a PhD at the age of 28. She has a background in higher education with experiences in both academic and student affairs. Dr. Eve has worked at various institutions types, including public, private, religious, PWI, HBCU, HWS, community college, liberal arts, and R1 across North Carolina, Mississippi, and Kentucky. The areas in which she has experience include, but is not limited to, residence life, minority student engagement, Greek life, academic enhancement, first-year experience. Much of her service has been working with students of color and individuals who are first generation. She has over a decade of experience in curriculum development and teaching in both online and face-to-face settings. After years of service in post-secondary education, Dr. Eve decided to switch gears and started her social entrepreneur journey. She's the founder and chief strategist of Evangeline Worldwide, an entity created to empower first-generation college students and graduates. Dr. Eve is the creator of the first podcast highlighting the stories of first-generation college students and graduates, greeting cards for high school graduates who will be first-generation college students, current first-generation college students, and first-generation college graduates. She was the first of that as well. She was also the first of self-discovery empowerment journals for first-generation college students and graduates. She was also the first podcast launch incubator, has the first podcast launch incubator for first-generation college graduates, empowerment and development membership for first-generation college graduates called Resilient Scholars, and she has the first entrepreneurs membership and mastermind for first-generation college graduates, the EW Trailblazer Society, created. As an empowerment speaker and author, Dr. Eve has touched thousands of lives across the world. A few of her past audiences include the United Negro College Fund, the Ohio State University, Ivy League, Cornell University, and National Trio programs. She leads the First Gen Lounge, an international podcast that inspires, empowers, and uplifts first-generation graduates as they navigate life and entrepreneurship. This show has tens of thousands of downloads and has reached more than 85 countries. Dr. Eve holds a degree from Shaw University, the oldest HBCU in the South, and the University of Southern Mississippi, and holds membership in both alumni associations. She is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and serves on the steering committee for the Black Gen Collective. In her spare time, Dr. Eve enjoys mentoring, reading, traveling, food tasting, cuddling with her chocolate lamb, Maxwell Alexander, and adventures with her best friend and life partner, Dr. James M. Hudson. Welcome to the table, the amazing Dr. Eve Hudson.
Well, wow. Okay, now, it's different hearing it read. So, Dr. Little, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I love the energy, and I am so excited to be sitting at this table with you for tonight. I've been hoping to get an invitation for a while, too, I ain't gonna lie. So thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation, as I always do.
I love it. I'm as humbled to have you at the table, Dr. Eve. You are amazing, breaking glass ceilings every day. And so people have heard, and the audience has heard, your amazing bio. So tell us more about your journey.
Again, Dr. Evangeline D.B. Hudson, born and raised in the beautiful state of North Carolina. To be exact, I'm from Charlotte, and was born to a single mother who eventually ended up getting married, got divorced, had 2 more children. So she was a single mother then of 3. And I used to have this thing. She had a job for each one of us. But my mom was someone who was very strong. She was always very wise. She was very forward. My mom didn't play no games. And so one of the things she used to tell me is be better than me. And, you know, somebody hearing that be better than me, some people can take that and say, well, that feels and sounds kind of negative, right? But she really inspired me to go after what I wanted in life, and whatever I perceived as better is what I went for, which has led me to all the things that I have done and blazing trails, not just for myself, but for my family, especially for my future family, and definitely for those who are in similar situations. So leaving higher education, even starting in higher education, let me just go back to that, was because college was so transformational for me. It was the time in my life where the pivot happened, where I saw the world different and I saw myself different, but I also never wanted to leave it. So the way to do that was to work in higher education. But, you know, found that in my discovery of self, I really wanted to do something different and take a different path, but I just did not know what it was. And I was experiencing some burnout, some mental, physical, spiritual things, just were, you know, it's out of alignment, you know, Dr. Little. So for me, I was like, what is that thing? And what was the journey to start, you know, being a motivational speaker has turned into now a 5-year entrepreneurial endeavor that I wouldn't take back, you know, for the world. And I love it because I'm able to help other first-generation college students and graduates to find themselves and show up in the world and give the world the best that they've got.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I just love everything that you're doing with, you know, with your passion for first gen. So let's talk about that. Why are you so passionate about helping first-generation college students? I know you spoke a little bit about it a few minutes ago, just about your journey, but tell us more about your passion.
Man, you know, higher education is broad in what it is, right? You have so many areas of higher education. We talked about residence life, academic affairs, student athletics, just so many things. And for me, I continue to gravitate toward minority students, especially at majority institutions, because I felt like they needed somebody. But there kept being this thing for me. Like, I knew I was first generation, but even in my professional experiences in higher education, it wasn't really the first gen thing that was really triggering me as much as it was helping students who had been through what I'd gone through, right? Just kind of that struggle, coming from a low-income background, being the first to go to college. How do you keep folks empowered on their journey? And I love being that mentor and, you know, that friend who's even become for so many a sister, best friend even. And so for me, just wanting to be the person I needed. But when I got toward the end of my time in higher education full-time, because I do, you know, have a part-time adjunct that I'm adjunct that I'm doing online in the higher education program. But as leaving full-time, toward the end, I kept saying, I think I'm going through all of this because I'm the first person to do this. I'm the first person to be in a professional space like this. I'm the first person to really be negotiating salaries and having, you know, this monthly income, but I can still take off from work and not miss any money. But I wonder if anybody else is going through this. And being that I went to an HBCU, you know, nothing in the world like them, I did not realize this first-gen identity was anything special, right? Because so many of my classmates were first generation, but we also have professors who knew how to love on us and support us different. But in the real world, everything just felt different for me. And I didn't want other people to be on their own and kind of up the creek without a paddle, as my grandma used to say. So how then do you fix a problem? How then do you help? And, you know, entrepreneurship is about solving problems. So it made sense to me to really consider that after college, there was no support for first-generation graduates. You know, you have all the mentors and student resources on campus as a student, but when you get grown, quote unquote, it seems like things just fall off. So I thought, well, hey, what can I do to help solve this problem and help my people beyond being Black, being a woman, being first generation, because first generation, you know, is across race, across culture, across the world. And it started with the podcast, and then the podcast has led to a number of other things, including the book, the journal, the trainings, the memberships, but even still working with institutions to empower their students and help them prepare for life after college.
Oh, powerful, powerful. And I mean, just the things that you have created, right? And some of these, most of, a good amount of them, you just created during the pandemic, right?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it.
Well, you know, with the pandemic having, you know, taken off last year, it was, and just in vulnerability, felt like a very devastating time for me. because all that I had worked for as a speaker was finally actualizing last year. So I was on the road almost every weekend, starting late January, early February. So here I am, Texas, New York, planning for South Carolina, North Carolina, going down to Charlotte. And then it was like, wait, everything stopped. Y'all going to stay at home. So for those of us who are in the speaker space, it was very, what? What do you mean? This is my whole life. This is my career. This is my work. And a lot of institutions, especially in organizations, because it was so new for us, everything was just being canceled. So there was no thought of, let's do this virtual, let's do this way. So what seemed like, it took me years to build fell apart overnight. And so that forced me to pivot, but not to just pivot, to be creative and to think about longevity. And that I was thinking, so what are people doing right now? So I started the Podcast Incubator, knowing that people want to start shows and I have something to teach them. And I put it out there just as a, hey, does anybody want to be a part of this? And I had 5 individuals to sign up for it, all with whom have launched podcasts. But then I realized later they were all first generation. And I was like, wait a minute, seriously? But again, I had the podcast, but just didn't think that it was going to end up being like that. And I was like, again, let me lean into my first-gen community and do more to help us, because there's something unique about the experience, right? Having a shared experience and being able to help and relate and connect. But even outside of that, just some of the virtual programs, the memberships that I've created, the additional journals, just adding merchandise, but also really placing more emphasis on virtual programming for institutions, and just working with students, again, just across the globe. And even now moving into more of an event space, virtual event space, doing networking and mentorship, which are really, really important to me. I think they're so significant for us. And, as you probably know, Clubhouse has been one of those mediums for being able to say, there's really something here in this virtual space, and I'm going to keep it up, and this is how I want to do it. So really putting a lot of focus on building community through this, but also trying my hand at many things. Once again, to have those different streams, because yes, to have a book and to have a workshop, or, the two of the speakers go together well, but you just can't prepare for a pandemic and to know how it's going to hit you. But now I feel like I'm ready for whatever happens next because of the things that I've been able to pull. Again, being more of the products and services being the memberships and the trainings and things that are virtual, so that they can sustain. And I don't think that we're going to change the society, right? As a global community, we're always going to have, I think, a virtual component now that we even know that's possible. So that's where I am.
And tell us, so since you created all these amazing things, which are amazing, Dr. Eve, how has the, everything been going with the memberships and everything, with your cohorts and everything?
To be very candid, they've been challenging for me because they're new, but they require a lot of work. So for anybody who's considering going out here, I'm going to start a membership, think about it. I don't think that they're bad. They've been great. They're small and intimate, but I think there are a lot of things that could change. So even with starting memberships, you may have one vision for it, which I did, but I'm finding that it's something totally different based on what my audience needs, what they want. And so the thing is having a hypothesis, right? And you're testing it out. Well, in entrepreneurship, we have thoughts about things. We build them, we test them out, we tweak them. So, the challenging part, too, is, of course, recruiting, getting people interested, and finding that sweet spot. Because memberships are so different than, like, one-off courses. They're close, they're personal, they're intimate. You get to really see people in spaces that they sometimes don't even want to be in. And you've got to figure out, is today a day to coach them and, be, a little bit more stern and like, hey, you need to get this thing done. Here's a deadline. Or today a day to just have a life chat. And then depending on the groups, because I was excited enough actually to say, I'm going to do 2 memberships. Who does that? People do it. But I just want to be so up close and personal with my audience, right, with my community, because they really, really matter to me, that it's just balancing the differences and all of the things that may come with it. But it's been so rewarding. And the thing that I've been working on is streamlining them. So how to work better to even create a pipeline and even create a service opportunity through the memberships. And still, though, having these memberships, bringing them together across the globe, to have a student, in Abu Dhabi, to have one that's in the UK, to have somebody who's coming in from Texas or California. It's literally been a global community for me, and further emphasizes that first gen is universal. But I love it. I'm looking forward to doing more with it and helping those who want to be a part of this journey.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So powerful.
Thank
So
you.
powerful. So let's talk about your company, Evangeline Worldwide. Tell us more about your company as a whole and the services you offer. And I know you spoke about some of them that you already offer under that as well. But is there anything else you want to add to that you offer overall as your brand?
Really hope. I know that's probably not a service or a product, but it's hope. Because really, thinking about Evangeline Worldwide, it's a lot about legacy. I got my name from my grandmother, and I tell people, if you look on the internet, if you find Evangeline, if it ain't me, it's her. But if you hear the name anywhere else spelt like it is, then you already know, like, it's got to be one of us. And it's probably not going to be my grandma on the internet. But I say that because, for me, Evangeline Worldwide is really about helping those who are first and who are trailblazers and history makers and risk takers and game changers, right? Help them understand the power of their legacy and to deliver that through programming for institutions or through the products and services that are offered in terms of like the membership or any of the workshops or any of the trainings or events that we have. It's so important that first gens are able to get to see themselves in a different light, because far too often society puts us in this, you come from nothing, statistically you're supposed to be nothing, quote unquote, especially those who are from low income backgrounds. But that's not true. And so we as a people, as a humankind, are inheritance of abundance. And we as first gens have to see that just because we're first doesn't mean that we don't deserve all that life has to offer, that we want. And to break that scarcity, that poverty, that not enoughness mindset, to really step into one's destiny and leave that legacy. Because I was telling some students the other day, on the family tree, now whenever they say that name of that person, it's them who got the college degree, right? And because of that, how do you shape the future of generations? Though it's a lot of responsibility, it's definitely something that we can do. And I just want all that I'm doing for us to translate to this program is more than just a program and you bring it in to speak. It's about changing generations. These memberships are about more than just we having a good time. It's about changing generations. It's about changing the world. And it's so much deeper than just we having fun. We have fun, but it's really getting a whole group of people to wake up and understand the promise that's within them and to see it, to own it, and to live it.
Ooh, see, own it, and to live it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Powerful. So make sure, I hope everybody's taking, notes and these, because Dr. Eve is dropping these nuggets over here. So I hope you all are taking notes. So, Dr. Eve, let's go deeper. So what is some advice you would give to first-generation college students that are listening, or people that might have, cousins, friends, or they might be a first-generation college student? What is some advice you would give to them?
One of my favorite pieces of advice is everything you need is within you. So far, so often we look outside of us for validation for what we need and for what we're supposed to become, even who. And as first gen, sometimes we can be in our head with that imposter syndrome, right? Am I enough? I can't do this. Am I adequate? But you are, and you're creative. Who else thinks to go to college when nobody else has done it? And college is no easy feat. So to do that and to be successful, to navigate, you got what it takes. So don't doubt that ever. And if you don't know something, because you are so incredible, you know to ask questions, and don't be ashamed to ask questions and get the help you need, because it's not making you any less, right? It's making you stronger and more resourceful. So everything you need is within you. Never doubt that, and live in that, wake up believing that, and act like it, and everything that is yours will come.
I love it. I love it. And let's talk about your First Gen Lounge podcast that you created to highlight these amazing first-generation college students, to show the great things that they're doing, to talk about their journey, right? Because people see the accolades, but they don't know the story. So let's talk about that and what you're doing with the over, thousands of downloads.
Yeah, thank you for that. We'll be breaking 90,000 soon. It's got a little slow with the pandemic, I'll be honest, because people ain't driving to work. So that's what it is. But I'll definitely say for me, it was asking a question and seeking answers. Is there anybody else who's first generation, who's graduated, who's feeling like I'm feeling, and how are you getting through it? And what became one conversation has now become 168, 69 conversations, just about how we're navigating this first generation college graduates as, mothers, wives, husbands, entrepreneurs, best friends, all kinds of things. There's so much variation, but it also speaks to the incredible diversity of individuals who are and identify as first gen, the founders, the startups, those who have gone back to school after a 7-year hiatus. I love it. And there's something for everybody who is first generation. There's always some kind of nugget to pick up on that may inspire you or help you to figure out how to navigate the path. Most great things that are created, Dr. Little, I believe, come from somebody having a problem and trying to fix a problem for themselves. So I'll say, after having over 100 guests, they've definitely helped me solve one of my own problems, right? But then innately helping to feed into a global community and give people something to believe in, but also creating a community of first gens, people who can be mentors and people who can be contacted to help others. So that's one of the very natural things that has happened because of this as well, and something I'm most excited about, just the community that's come out of this. And I would even go further to say even the community of people of color who are thriving in so many areas of life, who have come out of this, who are first generation, to wear this badge with pride and not see it as something that is a shame.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so how can, for people that are trying to want to be guests on your show, how can they become a guest if they fit the criteria?
Sweet deal. Thanks for asking that. So definitely my website, www.evehudsonphd.com/share. And I'll say that again, it's www.evehudsonphd.com/share. And it's a form that you can fill out. We'll review it, check you out, and invite you to a conversation. If we find that you're first gen, because some people are first gen, so if you're first gen and you want to have the conversation, come on, let's have that conversation and talk about how you're navigating and what wisdom you have to share with the world.
And so I know you worked in, many different hats in higher education. You've worked with students of first gen the majority of your career. And so what are some things that you found, like struggles that you've seen with first generation college students?
Ooh, so many. Finance, being able to stay in school. Finance is a really big one for first gens because so many come from backgrounds that may even be low income. So affording to even have somebody who can take out a loan they may not be able to because of credit, or thinking about parents who may not be able to help with FAFSA, or documents that may not be delivered on time because there's that lack of understanding, or maybe students have to fill out these forms on their own and their parents can't help, so maybe some stuff is just happening there. Food insecurity is definitely one. A lot of people don't think about it, but again, a number of students who come from first-gen backgrounds, again, are low income. So going to school, having to provide for themselves, having to work and go to school, so balancing work, school, and extracurricular activities, then depending on the intersection of the student, white, black, male, female, what that looks like. A black female having to think about internships and maybe what fairness looks like in being able to get that internship, or because she's a woman, even with my Latinx folks, having to go home to take care of families because it's kind of this, so that's what the women do. Having children, so many have children, not all, and I say so many, but there's a percentage of, and I forget the percentage, so forgive me for that, I'm drawing a blank, but those who have children, those who decide I'm going to go to the military first and come back, but though I've done the military, I'm trained to do this, but I'm assimilating to this higher education space, but I'm still first gen, so many first, so there's layers upon layers of things, dealing with professors and them not understanding that, again, I need to work because I have to take care of myself, but it's kind of like, well, if you're in college, then you should, put your studies first. But I'm putting my studies, as a priority because I want better for myself. But, again, I got to take care of myself. So many things that we can look at that can be barriers for first-generation college students. Going to campus and deciding, can I afford to live on campus, or is it safe for me to even go home? Should I even go home? Because me going to college was me getting out the hood. So it just really, really depends. But I would say first-generation college students are the most brilliant, the most resilient, the most empowering students that you'd ever want to know as a group, because to say this is where I come from, but I'm here, and to excel and to do everything you can to stay in that space, I think there's so much to be said, and we really need to continue to pour resources into first-generation college students across the globe to ensure that people have the access to the resources they need to, again, equip themselves to have a better life.
Powerful. And you created a scholarship too, right, through the pandemic for first-gen college students, right? Resilient Scholars?
Resilient Scholars, so that's actually, set up to be for those who end up being members to come in and so they, over time, depending on what thing we're doing, we'll be giving more or less stipends, right, to be able to support them through different things that they're doing. So maybe somebody is just about to move and they need a stipend for moving, or maybe they're about to start, school and need books. And so looking to want to serve the people, honestly, who want to be a part of the community, not just people who just want to come and take the scholarship and run on. So we were intentional about that and just being very candid. It's important to participate and to be active because it's more than just the money. It's about being able to pour into the people and help them develop personally. So we do have opportunities through our membership, Resilient Scholars, the Resilient Scholars Club, actually, to be able to help individuals to just press forward, really. And then we do take a part of the proceeds from, what we are able to generate to, really feed back into the community. So that's exactly what's set up.
Awesome. That's amazing. And I just want to give you kudos because that's amazing. That's amazing. So make sure you all connect with Dr. Eve. She is definitely somebody to know. So Dr. Eve, I asked all of my guests this question. You created multiple tables for others and always creating tables for others on a daily basis. And you created multiple tables for yourself. How did you create your seat at the table?
So honestly, I built my own chair and I built my own table and I sat at it, invited people to come eat with me. That's how.
I love it. I love it. And let's talk about this because a lot of people see the glory, but they don't know the story or the process. So what did failure teach you on your journey?
What hasn't it taught me? Failure has taught me, though, that failure is really only failure if you decide to quit, if you decide to give up, if you decide to just let it go. It has taught me that nothing lasts forever because we choose how long we stay down. In a lot of cases, we choose to say, okay, this is bad, but I can mope about it and mope about it for months on end, or I can say, but I'm still here and I'm still going to try and I'm still going to do what I need to do. So it's been eye-opening as well, but it's also expected, right? We've all got to fail at something at some point in time, but again, it's not a true failure unless you just walk away and you learn nothing from it. So I strive to learn from everything, to be open-minded, and to be okay with, the ills in life because that's what keeps us humble, right? It keeps us grounded. And failure is probably one of life's best teachers, only because we walk away as better people and we know in most cases what not to do or think about what we can do better as we continue to move forward.
I love it. I love it. So what did success teach you on your journey? Because you're very successful.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I definitely appreciate you. It taught me that I'm deserving. For a very long time, there were so many things that I probably embraced or accepted because I didn't think I deserved or I was worth more. So getting one of my largest speaking contracts, that's a success. I deserved that and somebody saw that I deserved that, but I knew that I deserved the reason that I was able to put it out there and ask for it. Seeing the success of the podcast, that I have something that's worth sharing and worth helping, other people with, and that it's so unselfish in what it is and bringing people together, it's definitely the strength. So for me, just the deservingness, right? Because sometimes when we don't come from what we're experiencing, it's hard to think that we deserve it or, hey, this is possible for somebody like me. That's why a lot of the come-up stories are so great because so many people in our society have so many challenges, and to know that it's possible is definitely something. And then the other thing I, just alluded to was just seeing more of my strengths and seeing what I'm good at because of what's worked out. And so paying attention to those things and wanting to do more of it so I can show up and give the best that I have to give each and every day of my life.
Whew, you know what? I hope everybody has really been listening tonight to all of these powerful nuggets that my amazing soror, Dr. Eve, has left you all with, okay? So, Dr. Eve, tell our listeners how they can follow you, support you, and book you.
Oh, come on now. Let's follow, support, and book. I'm going to go ahead and use that one there, Sora.
Yes.
I'm on all social media platforms. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, at Eve Hudson, PhD. Let me not forget Clubhouse. I'm there too. I'm at Eve Hudson, PhD. And if you would like to collaborate with me directly, please go to my website, www.evehudsonphd.com /pass the mic. Try to get clever with that, but pass the mic, and just go there and you can check out the programs that I offer for first-generation college students, graduates, and for those who are transitioning into professional spaces, but love working with nonprofits, colleges, institutions, and those who supporting the mission of First Gens. And I would love to connect with you all. And again, just thank you for that, Dr. Little. I appreciate that.
You are welcome, of course. So make sure you all support and definitely connect with Dr. Eve. She is definitely somebody to know and connect with. Now, before we go to Dr. Eve, I want you to let them know how they can get your book, too, because we didn't talk about that. Tell them how they can get your book.
Oh, yes. Look, of all the things that we didn't talk about, right?
Right.
Yeah, so if you would like to, it's on Amazon. So there's right now a book, a journal, and then the second journal, third publication will be dropping. So Amazon.com. If you'll just search, Dr. Hudson, Evangeline Hudson, you'll find me there. But I would recommend going to my website so that if you like signed copies or just really to kind of connect and get some of the benefits of getting it there, at evehudsonphd.com /shop. And you'll see everything that's there with the book 1865 with 27 moments of reflection for first-generation college students. And then the newly releasing project, and I say releasing, will be out in a few days, is 27 moments of reflection for first-generation college graduates. And for all things that are there, you can get a preview.
Congratulations, Dr. Eve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Book out. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. You inspired me, right?
You inspired
Let's
me
make it happen.
Okay?
Make it happen. You always said, don't play around now, Dr. Hudson. Let's make it happen. So I heard you.
Yes, you did. Make sure you all support her book. I'm telling you, Dr. Eve is breaking glass ceilings on a daily basis. So you definitely want to be connected with her. She's definitely somebody to know. So, Dr. Eve, thank you so much for coming to the table tonight. It has been an amazing show. And I cannot wait to invite you back, because I'm inviting you back. You always have a seat at my table.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate you. Thank you for the work that you're doing to blaze trails, to create space, to support and empower, to uplift, and to leave your legacy, because all that you do, I can't keep up. I'm trying to get like Dr. Little, but I just bless you with all that you do, everything that you touch, every life that you will change. Just may it all turn to gold, because you're so brilliant. And just thank you for the opportunity to share and continue to connect and uplift. So you're an amazing Sarah. So these will go there. You're amazing. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too, Sarah, and I look forward to continuing for us to continue to collaborate, continuing to reach back to help each other and others, okay? So I look forward as we continue to grow.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. So I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, who is now a Tennessee State University alumni. And I would also like to give a special thanks to my intern, Vontaria, who is a student at Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little, and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.